Oh,
As I started off with a curse word. Hi.
there was a delay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode. We're going to talk. We'll do some chit chatting.
Yeah.
Get the comments going. Get the comments rolling. We were just talking about No Way Home
Yeah.
and the crusade that it took a lot of people, including Kelly.
Oh,
Uh,
my plight. Yeah. I was already aware of what was probably going to happen because of Avengers Endgame, and I remember
mhm.
Fandango crashing for about 10 minutes. It was just 10. That was my thing. It was like, but I already had a feeling that was going to happen. And so when it first crashed, I made a joke on Twitter about how watch scalpers are going to go ahead and like buy out rows of tickets and then put them on eBay for the highest bidder. And about 2 hours into the wait of the Fandango crash and the AMC crash, um, somebody found it and they were like, "Hey, you were right." And I'm like, "I don't want to be right. This is."
Yeah, this was. We talked about this on Spider's Experience, but and Neil, he didn't know about it. So like he's reacting in real time
Mhm.
as he's searching on eBay because like I made him on team with the latest StreamYard update where you can add co-hosts, and eventually I'm going to add you as a co-host.
Okay.
But
Good.
it only let me have one, and we were testing it out, and then I couldn't remove them
It's
for
fine.
whatever reason.
It's fine.
So he's sitting there, doing his thing, and he goes, "I thought you were kidding." I'm like, "No, no. There's somebody's got $25,000 for tickets to the premiere."
Yeah. Well, I think that that's in LA, and I do believe that that is a premiere ticket.
Right. Which I can
Um,
understand that.
because it needs to be a private event, but we're not going to go into that.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
And
I'm.
it doesn't need they don't need to be having TikTokers. But that's also another thing.
I tried to do my first TikTok. I don't know how you do it.
Oh, I guess that should that be a Patreon exclusive where we explain to
By
you
my
how to do a TikTok? Are you
Teach me how
that
to do a
old now?
TikTok. I have never felt so old on social media as when I yesterday when I was attempting to do my first TikTok. I was like, I don't know, I may be too old for this. So,
Slightly.
it,
It's fine.
you know,
It's fine.
you can find me on TikTok. It's at
Yeah, I think I saw. I saw you follow me, and I just need to follow you back. But
well, I changed the name. It was my name, and then I changed it to Spider Network. So
yeah, okay,
keep it consistent.
good.
Hello, 6 people that are watching us right now.
Hi guys.
Got Ryan Reed saying hello, everyone. Sorry he didn't get more Spider Girl Perla beads done. Pat, listen,
We
we
were
understand.
literally talking about that before. That's one of my reasons of cursing. You are fine, Ryan. Completely. Life happens. In fact, we were just literally talking about that.
Mhm.
Um, where basically one of the reasons y'all only get one episode this month is a lot to do with one the holidays, two
Mhm.
Zach and Sarah's birthday.
Yes. Happy
Um,
birthday, Sarah.
yes, yes, and also like work, life stuff. We have lives outside of the internet and outside of this show. And as much as we love the show and we try our best to keep it consistent as possible, it is a passion project. And the first thing we need to do is take our emotional and mental health into check. And if we just can't make it happen without breaking our backs, it's we're probably gonna just put it on hold for right now and deal with all of our different real life stuff. And everyone
Yeah.
else should do the same.
You know,
It's
my
okay. We'll be back. We're here. It's
we're
just
we're here, and it's because of the support we've gotten from you guys. It keeps us going, certainly. But also, my expectation is that we'll be doing like I think one more episode of Experience, and then we'll do a special episode for No Way Home the
Zach.
Monday after uh, opening weekend. So, though that's my plan for right now. I'm gonna try to get some other things lined up while we're on break. So I'll be doing some behind the scenes stuff, like getting everything caught up on the audio before the end of the year, so that way it's all ready to go. We're only, I think, one behind on this show, but Spidey Experience has got several episodes behind on the audio, so I want to get that done. And then once that's done, then we're just gonna rock and roll. There is, when I have an update on it on classics, we'll get you guys an update. I was hoping to do it this fall, but it looks like it's going to be pushed back to probably the first of the year. So, which life,
That's fine.
Jack and Hobby got to get together and do their thing. So, I'm excited, and my goal also is to get the last of the classics episodes out, the old classics episodes out. So, I think there's 3 left that I've got to release, and then there's actually a total of 5. So, we'll get those. I'll get those out by the end of the year. Especially, I'll probably have those lined up for like the week of Christmas, so that way, they'll just hopefully, knock on wood, WordPress will work correctly in the auto post. So sometimes WordPress doesn't like me, but yeah. So we got a lot going on, but we're so happy to be back. This is going to be one of my favorite episodes, just because I love these issues, and I can't wait to talk about them. So
Me too. Well, before we do start the official show, you need to turn your volume up.
oh, am I too low?
Yes.
Is that better?
I think so.
Okay.
Look at the comments.
Hi, Ron.
Hi.
Have mercy on an old man. Oh, hi, Ron.
You're not old.
You're not old. You're young.
Yeah.
So, okay. Let me see. Let me get. I had the. I was uploading it as we were talking. Branding.
Mhm.
Add that overlay. And then we'll get started very shortly.
Alrighty.
So, feel free to leave some more comments, and we'll talk about those in just a second. Well,
Are we having technical difficulties today? I mean, we can do it old school without the titles.
That's true. That's true. We can do it old school. All right, we'll just do it old school.
All right.
So, all right, coming down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Make Mine Mayday. I'm Zach Joyner, your friendly neighborhood webmaster of Spidey-Dude.com and host of the fine program. It's the place where we talk about all things Spider-Girl in the world of the MC2. Of course, before we get started, we want to give a big shout out to our patrons at patreon.com/SpideyDude Network. Vinkman, Scott, Jurgen, and Greg, you guys, thank you for your support over the years as we have gone through and been doing this show as well as our other shows here on the network. Thank you guys for everything you guys do. We're going to get some more of the latest episodes up soon, and we can't wait for you guys to hear those episodes. So thank you for your support. And per usual, our disclaimer is as follows. These shows are recorded live on YouTube and then sent to our favorite podcast catchers like Spotify, Google, Amazon, Audible, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and of course, Apple Podcasts. As such, if you're listening to these platforms, you might hear references to some visual cues that obviously aren't in the audio edition. So we're apologizing to those audio listeners in advance. Please let us know, though, how we're doing by leaving us a review on the platforms, or send us emails like at makemymayday@gmail.com and at SpideyDudeRadioNetwork@gmail.com, and leave us those 5-star reviews on those platforms. So if you're watching this after the fact or during, give us a like, a share, and a subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube so we can continue to grow the channel. Thanks for listening, and enjoy this episode. So, of course, we can't do the episode without our resident Spider-Girl expert, a.k.a. Kelly.
Hi. I'm an expert now?
You are an expert.
Okay.
You've always been an expert.
All right. I count as super fan.
That's true. You are the ultimate super fan.
Thank you.
Yes.
I will wear that badge with pride and honor.
We'll have to get you a shirt. Spider-Girl super fan.
Yeah.
We're going to have new shirts coming soon.
Okay.
So after the first of the year, we're definitely going to get everybody some new Spidey Dude swag. So
see, I get told about shirts all the time. I get promised a shirt on the other podcast I do every episode. Still haven't seen it.
Hey, I will get you a shirt. We're actually gonna order like about 10.
Okay.
Sarah actually got a press So we can
Nice.
actually use the cricket, and she's going to start doing that probably after the first year or two as a side gig. So
Nice.
we're going to be ordering some shirts. Not the side gig's not for Spidey Dude necessarily. It's for wedding
Just
planning
her.
and stuff. But
Yeah.
we'll order some more shirts, and we'll be getting them mailed to everyone. So that's going to be y'all's belated Christmas gift from me, and to our some of our patrons as well. So
Nice.
we've got some news afoot.
Yeah. I think so. So not really like the first one's not super super big, but I did want to give a shout out to a couple of younger fans that have created a Spider-Girl Discord, and they posted it in the Reddit form, so you can go find it on Reddit if you want to join that Discord. It's got a lot of great people. Honestly, I'm shocked to see how big it is. I know I invited you, and and you were added, so you kind of got to see what they've been up to. It is very, very active, and it's very cool. So hi to anybody from that Discord that is listening in today. Hopefully you guys like the show and will listen to a few other episodes, but it's really cool just to see fans get really excited and come together. And I found it through the other Kelly, the younger Kelly from Twitter.
Hi, Kelly.
Yeah, hi Kelly. Hi, other Kelly. April.
Yes.
The April to my Mayday. So
yes, very much so.
Very much so. So I, just exciting things. Exciting to see fans becoming a little bit more active. Also in the news, because I feel like we have to talk about it a little bit, is we got some news about Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah. Yes, Sven, right?
I think it's Sven. I think so.
Nice. Yes. Sven created the Discord, so
yes, that's
cool.
Awesome.
But yeah, so Into the Spider-Verse had some announcements and a teaser, and we learned that it's not into this Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Then my brain goes to Across the Universe, and then I think of Beatles songs.
All you need is love.
Yeah. But it's Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, which means there's going to be a Part 2. And
the internet, I saw the internet collectively melt down.
Yes, the internet did collectively melt down, and maybe it was just my little fraction. Mm-hmm. But I saw a lot of people go, hey, if there's a Part 2, Mayday has to be in one of them, right?
I would hope.
Well, so the interview with Lord and Miller, the creative team behind Spider-Verse, did say that we can expect Miles to meet a lot of new Spider-Verse friends, and every Spider-Verse character that they have ever wanted to use has been put into the movie in some way, which gives me high hopes, but at the same time, maybe they didn't want to use her. But, again, here's my whole thing is, why bring up the whole kids aspect with Peter B. Parker if you're not going to bring in some spider spawn, which is probably the worst word for that. But you know what? We're using it. Spider spawn.
Somebody is going to do a mashup of McFarlane, Spawn, and Spider-Man.
No.
And
they're not.
Yeah. Let's not.
No, it's fine. But yeah, no. So I expect, if not May, Annie, I kind of expect both of them, considering how big Spider-Girls, the miniseries for Spider-Geddon was. I mean, I feel like there's still a weekly conversation about people going, hey, didn't you read this miniseries? In fact, a lot of newer Spider-Girl fans found her through that miniseries, which, we'll talk about it when we get to it. I don't necessarily think it's the greatest thing ever that everybody seems to act like it is, but at the same time, I do appreciate it is a better representation that May has gotten through those Spider-Verse books, so I can't really complain about it. But yeah, I have a feeling that that's going to happen. I would hope, anyway. So that it's pretty exciting that it's getting a two-parter. And then since I feel like I have to say something, because I actually saw that Mr. Ron Friends commented on one of uh, one of my posts about the Funko Pops. We're gonna get into it, and I'm gonna bring what he wrote. I just hadn't had a chance to reply back because
Mm.
I have been, and I know I've talked to you behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I've been talking to them, like their customer service team,
Hmm.
trying to just get some solid answers. And I'm having a time, guys. But to start off for Pop
Yeah.
in a
Well,
Box,
Funko update.
Funko update. So Black Friday and Cyber Monday and that whole weekend came out, and without much fanfare, without any kind of advertising, they dropped a new Mayhem April Parker Funko Pop, which is the original, the first one that they did last year,
Hmm.
but this one glows in the dark.
Yes.
So that is out now, or out for pre-order now. But the reason I don't want to like go, yeah, go pre-order it, go get it, yay, Spider Girl items, is because on this update on Pop in a Box, one of our friends, Frogoat in
We're,
Australia,
yeah.
right?
You're,
Australia,
you're watching
down
this on
under.
the next day. There, Australia.
Yes, yes. He was able to get his Funko Pops from a store that he had pre-ordered them at,
Hmm.
and this was a few weeks ago. And so this kind of tipped me off to like maybe check in with Pop in a Box and just go, hey, y'all said that this was an exclusive. I'm seeing that stores overseas are starting to get them.
Hmm.
Can you let us know when that's happening? And they were like, yeah, it's shipping out on 11:30. Like yours specifically is shipping out on 11:30. And I was like, great. Okay, so y'all are fairly on time. Awesome, awesome. Then December 4th, I get a message saying that it's delayed, but there's no other answers on it. And I believe other people got the same email.
Hmm. I got the email as well.
Yeah, so I messaged them again and technically got told that we didn't need to have, they don't actually have to give you that, that it can be delayed at any point, which is not right. So I've been back and forth trying to figure out what's going on. And this brings me up to what I saw just before we started recording, which is apparently some of them are out in the wild and at conventions. And I'm pretty sure it's probably through third party sellers. So
Yeah.
for something that's supposed to be an exclusive to Pop in a Box, I'm not very happy.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be different if the customer service level was um, to snuff, but right now it doesn't feel like we're there yet.
No,
And
I'm getting a lot of different answers. It, and the delay email
mhm.
was very, very vague. Um,
Yeah.
it can't be like there could be a supply and demand issue, but like I know I bought mine before they even announced that the pre-order had been opened. Before they sent that email because I had literally been refreshing the page all day.
Hmm.
So it's things seem a little weird.
Yeah.
It's just a little weird. I'm not 100% sure. I kind of, what I told Pop in a Box is it kind of feels like maybe Funko themselves realized that this actually could sell better. Like this actually was selling. The pre-orders were, because remember, they did close out that pre-order
Yep.
pretty quickly, and then they redid the second wave. And that's the one that you're seeing for February 2022 is the
Hmm.
second pre-order. I kind of have this feeling that like they realized that it was going to be super popular, so they've been giving them to
Hmm.
third-party sellers, and I'd have no clue what the marketing stuff was overseas, so I'm not going to get
Right.
fully into that.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so you might find them in the wild before anybody who pre-ordered them actually got them, and I feel personally bad for practically twisting some of y'all's arms into pre-ordering.
Oh, well, I was gonna get that regardless. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, as I was building my office, which I won't pan right now because it's still a bit of a mess. Um, I actually took a shelf to where it was a shelf is now full of Funkos because that's all of Sarah's. And so Sarah was super excited for it.
Yeah.
So I was going to get one regardless, but yeah, it's more than a little annoying. I'll have to check with my old LCS. They deal with a lot of Funkos.
Yeah.
And see if they were dealing with Funko itself, because that's who they deal with. You know, a lot of times they go and buy the exclusives like in the wild. They'll go try to pick them up and resell them, but you know, then there's also, you know, they get whatever the overstock is. They told me that they'll get the exclusives when there's overstock. So, oh well, that answers the question.
No, that's what. Yeah, that's what he wrote on the post about it. So that's what I was saying is that like they're definitely at cons now.
Which
I'm
cool. For those that haven't. I just want mine.
I want mine too, and that's my thing is that like Pop in a Box is supposed to be this exclusive place for Funkos, and Funko is supposed to be known. I mean, they're everywhere. Like it's not like it's some weird, shady third-party business. So
yeah,
I'm very concerned on just how this is being handled. This is gonna sound horrible of me, but like it's stuff that I deal with in my day-to-day job.
Right.
There are supply chain issues. I will admit to that. Like I think everybody's hurting a little bit just from manufacturing slowdowns. You know, there's some strikes situation stuff going on. There is a bit of a slow supply chain situation. However, things need to be communicated properly and clearly. And you need to be ahead of things instead of reacting to things. And that's a big customer service situation that I'm just very confused by. So yeah, but hopefully we get them soon. I'm hoping to get an answer. When I do get an answer, I will make sure that Zach posts it on the Spidey Dude social medias. I'll more than likely post it on my own. I feel bad about everybody being delayed. I'm frustrated. I know Zach's frustrated. We're all a little frustrated. But they are out in the wild, so you might find one. I do have a feeling because of this whole situation, what you will find is going to be vastly overinflated. So that's on you if you see it and want to get it. But, you know, we've got to get it eventually. Because we paid for it. So that's all I can really say there about it. But I do feel bad, and I did want to bring that up just because I know I've had DMs and messages on social media about it and about like, hey, did you get this? What's going on? And yes, like it's kind of a mess right now. But with that, I think that does it for any kind of news, Spider-Girl news. So
yeah, and there's the social medias for those that are on screen. At Spidey Radio on Twitter, at Spidey Network on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Patreon, at Make My Mayday on Twitter. So that you can find us on those social medias very easily if you're not watching us. So so okay. So for the beginning of this episode, the first two issues, I'm going to be doing the breakdowns.
You have a housekeeping.
Oh yeah, the housekeeping. The latest
not quite
episode,
done.
Yeah, sorry. The latest episodes are going to be coming out. They're not quite done yet. I was working on all the posts today. When I wrote that, I intended on finishing, and then I got distracted because life stuff. So the latest episode of Patreon, the latest audio version of this show will be out before after I get done with this episode recording it live. The post will be going up for the Patreon subscribers for the latest audio version, which is the last episode we did. And then next week on Wednesday, you guys will get this episode on the audio version on Monday, and then Wednesday the episode will be released. That's my plan. So,
All right,
we'll
and
be
then
all caught up on this show, and then we'll get Spidey Dude Experience caught up probably mostly during the break. So
awesome.
I'll be
Yeah.
gone for a week. So I'm going to the state of Tennessee for the first time in my life. So I get to knock off another state in my bucket list. So
That'd be fun.
yeah, we're gonna go visit Sarah's family that she has not been able to see for 2 years due to the worldwide pandemic. So she's very excited. I'm very excited for her, and I'm really looking forward to meeting this side of the family. So
Nice.
it'll be a fun blast. So
Yeah, that'll be fun. So speaking of which, about vacations and holidays and everything else, next week, both Zach and I are going to be seeing No Way Home in theaters. Both of our tickets are actually around the same time, which is kind of funny. But
yeah.
obviously no episode of Make Mine Mayday next week, and then of course we will be on break. Basically, we're not going to be recording because Christmas and New Year's and everything else. So we will probably see you guys after this in the new year, in January 2022. What day? We don't know yet. We got to work out. We got to work out our schedules and everything. But we do hope that, time permitting, we can do 2 to 3 episodes again each month. But we do have to just kind of see. So yeah, and that's pretty much it on the housekeeping. So we are doing 5 issues. I think it's 5. 5 issues today. The first 2 are going to be broken down by Zach. I'm going to handle the last 3. And yeah, and we will wind up ending at issue 84. So next episode will be 85. So while I wait for Zach so he can start his breakdowns, I guess I can take questions in the comments. We've got a little bit of downtime. Hi, Vinkman. We're not playing charades. Sorry. Not happening today. Oh man, I hate dead air so bad, but I don't want to like start without without Zach. All right, hi Sven. All right, so Sven is asking me while we have this downtime, who is your favorite character from Spider-Girl besides May herself? That would be Normie Osborn, which we get to talk about today, because we get to talk about his engagement party and what happens. So I'm excited to talk about that. So yeah. So actually, Sven, what is your favorite Spider-Girl character besides Mayday? All right, anybody else? Well, let's see. All right. See, this is where it would be great if I was a co-host, because then I could like put the comments up on the screen, and I can't. But Ron Friends asked, can anyone name the 4 pencilers who have worked on Spider-Girl? And I got 2 in my head, and I would have to look up the other 2. But got Ron and Pat Olive. And then hold on. See, now I've got to look cuz I can't remember people's names. I'm real bad. Let's see. So Firestorm3818 on YouTube wrote, just discovered this podcast. Never thought I'd find one dedicated to my favorite Marvel character. Good stuff so far. Thank you, Firestorm. I appreciate it. Oh, man. All right. Can anyone in the comments give me the other 2 pencilers that worked on Spider-Girl, since I am completely blanking? I don't want to have to, like, use my lifeline here. Sing! No. I mean, we could. We could sing Christmas carols. But I should probably, like, let people's ears rest. Like, where did Zach go? Nonsense. Oh, okay. All right. Ron says nonsense because he saw my TikTok of me singing Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. um, honestly, give Zach like another minute. If he's not here, I might resort to karaoke. We might have to do that. Or I might just read his breakdowns and just do the show by myself. We'll see. I'm going to give him a few minutes. This has been pretty long. What do you think happened to him? He like ran off. Do you think Venom got him? Possibly. All right, let's see. All right, you know what? I'm going to read and critique his breakdowns, I think. And Sven said, to quote Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man killed him. And yep, that's what happened. But all right. So I'm actually just going to straight up I'm just going to go ahead and start and take his breakdowns. I am very sorry about the dead air, y'all. But all right. So, I'm pulling up his breakdowns right now. So, let's see if I agree.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm so sorry. We had a stray dog in the neighborhood, and it decided to camp out on my front lawn. And so, my neighbors were like, "This dog's been camping out since like 5 o'clock," and I'm like, "I didn't know about it." and Sarah took a melatonin, so she's completely out, like passed out. So, yeah.
Okay.
Marketing.
Yeah, so I definitely drowned and sank. There
Oh
was
no.
lots of dead air. I was pulling up your breakdowns,
Oh, good.
and I was about to read them, but I'm glad you're back. And
I'm
also,
so sorry.
I'm also glad that you see that I'm right.
Kelly's what?
Why don't you start your breakdown and you'll remember.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, who are the other two pencilers on Spider-Girl besides Pat and Ron? Because that's all I can remember. Well, not. I can't remember anybody else's names.
Oh, I can't remember them either. Now that you said that, I'll look it up when you're doing your breakdown.
Okay.
Okay, Spider-Girl number 80, cover date for January 2005, released on November 3rd of 2004. The title is Secrets Kill, written by Tom DeFalco, art by Pat Olive, whom I think did the finishes as well. Because on the it didn't say anything on finishes, so I'm assuming he did both pencils and finishes. Artists emeritus Ron Frenz and Al Williamson. And I goofed up. I said this was our final full issue with Pat here. For real, I checked.
Why? What? Yeah, you literally wrote I checked, and I was like, are you sure?
What happened was I checked the website that we get the dates from, and I must have skipped 85 or something like that.
No, if they pulled it from Marvel Unlimited, which they might have, for some reason, issue 85 on Marvel Unlimited does not have the penciler.
Okay, well there we go. So our issue opens. I checked again, and Kelly is right.
Yeah. Yes, I am.
I'd never doubt Kelly. Okay, just don't do it.
Well, I was like, that's not the last. And I think we said it in the last episode too, where you tried to say that, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that there's at least another full issue.
I'm trying to push Pat out the door for no reason. I'm so sorry, Pat.
Why are you so mean?
That's not. I'm so sorry. Yeah. So our issue opens with Kevin Hartman, a young man who's been ignored by the girls, but not by the bullies. He's arrived at a time when we see the new janitor has unlocked the doors, and he's come down to the basement to where we see some very familiar artifacts that might be of interest. You see, Kevin has a secret, friends, and you know secrets can kill. Cut to Forest Hills, where Mayday is still recovering from her injuries that were suffered from the previous issue, specifically her ribs. She is gingerly putting her shirt on for the day and makes it downstairs for her parents. Peter is suspicious, where he demands that he observe the bruise when MJ steps in and stops the absurdity of Peter asking for this. May, of course, feels bad, but she still goes on to school. As she's walking towards school, a burglar alarm goes off. May is still smarting, but she can't let things just lie, so she goes and sees what's going on. When she arrives, she's greeted by Dragon King. Carlton is not happy with her calling him that and feels it's patronizing. I mean, he got a kick out of it at first, but now he feels trapped. He gets the upper hand and escapes, proclaiming that he only has one true friend. Later at school, Courtney expresses concern with May as she looks like she's in pain, so much that Davida actually behaves like a human and acknowledges it. I feel like she wouldn't have noticed it in the past. That's just me. An awkward exchange occurs, and Davida leaves. Courtney kind of calls May out for not taking the chance to rectify the situation between the two of them. We see Kevin again. This time he's being harassed by Tommy Boyle and Eddie Baskey for having extra food. I wonder what he's doing, getting the extra food for. Courtney No, sorry, I skipped the line. Uh, uh, May tries to help, but her spider sense goes off, with Kevin making a threat towards the two. When Chris shows up and asks May to lunch, meanwhile, Moose is trying to get into his locker when he hulks out on it because something is going on. Courtney knows this and she tries to talk to him, but Moose just angrily leaves. May is about to head to the cafeteria with Chris, thinking that she needs to focus on guys like Chris since he's normal and Normie's out of the picture. When someone, I think it might be Ralphie, I'm not entirely sure, tells them that Eddie and Tommy were jumped, May suddenly has her suspicions. Chris loses his appetite, and May heads to the girls' locker room. Or makes the excuse that she's heading to the girls' locker room.
I think it was the girls' room.
Girls' room. Sorry. Yeah, not the locker room. Courtney tries to talk to May about Moose, but she's on the hunt for Kevin and not really paying attention and blows her off. She brushes her off, and Davita sees this and she is pissed. She follows May, and May senses her and confronts her about the situation, with Courtney calling her out for ditching her. May is trying to get her to stop talking, but is interrupted with a growl. Kevin smugly tells May that those bullies would pay and that they did get what they deserved. Carlton doesn't really care about the girls. He just wants the medallion that causes transformation. Earlier, Mayday had remarked that it seemed like he was looking for something at the jewelry store. Of course, Kevin is trying to get Dragon King to, attack the girls and take the girls out, so that way, he can continue being down here and being down in the basement. So, but again, Carlton doesn't care about the girls. He just wants that medallion. Kevin tries to talk some reason, but May tries to get Davita to leave, but Davita decides to distract Dragon King by throwing one of his statues. This causes, Dragon King to get a little upset. May ends up saving Davita, and Davita remarks how pathetic Carl is sounding. He's very obviously in pain without being able to transform. May starts to suspect that she knows where the medallion is, and Davita throws another figure and tries to talk sense to Dragon King, telling him that Kevin may have a secret. Of course, he also remarks that, don't you know how expensive that thing is? He's not very happy about his precious figurines being broken. May then rips open Kevin's shirt, and it reveals that Kevin had the medallion the entire time. Kevin is pleading with Carl, telling him that Kevin has this, that he has to stop, that Carl has to stop the real monsters, the bullies. Carl grabs the medallion and transforms back to being a human. Davita is baffled at how May realized what was going on. May actually tells the truth, saying that she has, a sixth sense that warns her of danger. So Davita just assumes that, of course, it's a lucky guess. And so she doesn't really believe her. But outside, Moose remarks about May's day, and May takes the opportunity to talk to Moose about what's going on. At first, Moose is angry, but he finally and tearfully opens up, tells Mayday that his father has had some tests that need to be ran, and that he's scared because he already lost his mother to cancer. The next morning, Davita and May see each other, and they finally talk. And that is how the issue ends. Shout out to on the letters pages, John Dillon, Andrew Leek, Maze Bell. I'm not going to even try to pronounce the name. Richard Christensen also as Akwaze Omenming.
Oh no.
I tried to say that, and I'm so
try.
sorry.
Good try. I was wondering why you were doing the shout outs, but nice.
Shout out to those letters page people. When you got the floppies.
And if maybe they're listening. We did see y'all's letters.
Yes.
So my review for this is obviously my very first one. Very first thing is, did you forget about the issue with Funny Face?
I did.
How dare?
How dare I? Because we talked about that cover too, because that was like one of the first covers that they had on Marvel Unlimited that didn't have like the speech bubbles and stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, but also obviously, Dragon King is back. Everyone's favorite school janitor turned dragon, and basically most of what I have on here about this issue is I'm a little iffy on Courtney calling May out. Um, and obviously, like, we'll talk about it because May's not necessarily in the right either. But, you know, it like it does sound like something friends would say after a falling out like this, and especially at the time. It's just I'm not, as somebody who's like I've been kind of coerced into burying the hatchet with people that in hindsight what they said was wrong and it wasn't okay, and it's kind of to keep the peace, and that's kind of what I see here. Because the thing is like May forgives Davida. She sees, you know, what happened and that Davida is sorry, but the trust is gone, and that's a very valid situation because, you know, their falling out came from Davida kind of using the anti-mutant rhetoric for kind of in like very high school-esque, so it's not like true vindictiveness, but it was very much, you know, her power play because she was jealous over Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, one of their big fights that caused that breakdown was May literally asked Davida, like, well, what if I was, you know, what if I was different? And
Yeah.
she is different. So she's kind of seeing that, like, okay, Davita's not entirely trustworthy with this. Like, she can't confide in Davida because even though Davida did all of that for the wrong reasons, and that's not necessarily what's in Davita's heart,
Mm-hmm.
she still made those choices, and those choices do have consequences. It's just teenagers don't always think about the consequences until it's too late. And so that's kind of where this is coming from. So I just feel like May's not in the wrong for feeling uncomfortable around Davida.
Mm-hmm.
But I also will give Davida props here because, and we've said it before, May was not listening to Courtney or taking Courtney seriously about Moose, which is very, you know, it's like Courtney's generally the voice of reason, and Courtney's not going to run and ask for help without there being a legitimate concern. So May brushing her off is in the wrong.
Yeah.
And, you know, oh my God.
Angel. Oh, good lord.
But, you know, I do like Davida here going and calling May out properly on it because May shouldn't have blown Courtney off like that. That was like the third time, I think, over the same issue. And that is seriously wrong. I totally get where May's coming from on, hey, there's a mystery to solve. Something is afoot. Something is wrong. I must figure it out and get to the bottom of it. But she's doing it in a way where she's forgetting. It's kind of this, she hasn't found the balance between her Spider-Girl life and her life. And she's kind of throwing her life a little to the wayside, expecting to pick it back up without repercussions because she's not fully thinking, because she's a teenager.
Yeah, and
So,
that kind of, yeah, that leads to my, well, like my notes. I get that Courtney's heart's in the right place, and you want to try to preserve that status quo.
yeah.
But you know, eventually you learn that there is toxic people, and if they're toxic, they don't need to associate. Not saying that Davita's toxic. I
Yeah.
think Davita's in the wrong, but I think, and I wish we would have gotten that conversation because I think it would have been really, really interesting to see how May approach that.
Well, too, it would have been a good bridge between, because we'll see a similar situation happen again in Amazing.
Yeah.
And, you know, it would be nice to see that Davida has expressed her regret
Mm-hmm.
because we don't actually see that. You know, and we don't really get any kind of inkling of it until in Amazing. I mean, we know she feels sorry and she feels bad about it, but like we haven't heard her really express that to her friends. And that's something that I will say about Davida. It's like I don't really recall most times where she has actually apologized. I do think she does apologize a little bit in this issue, but not in the full scope of what I would like to see from her, I guess. And, you know, it's not Davida's book, so it's fine. But, you know, and on the other hand, too, like, you know, May does do the right thing, and I think does I think we hear that, she did apologize to Courtney, but, May's not always in the right on this either. So I just want to, like, throw that out there too. Like, there's other times where we could see a little bit more of her apologizing to her friends too. So it's a, it can't all be about high school. Also, I did want to just say, like, did the weird lying manipulating jerk have to be named Kevin? Um, because I do actually want to talk about that, like, too, like, not all bullies are jocks.
Uh-huh.
And let's be fair here, what Kevin was doing to his janitor, or former janitor, is it's actually kind of emotional abuse a little bit, because he's dangling something in front of him to get him to do other things he wants. But it is a form of hazing. It's a form of
Yeah.
bullying.
He was, what you go to realize when you start to think about it is that Kevin was just as bad as the bullies that were
Exactly.
bullying him.
Yeah, and so, I wanted to point that out too. Now, poor Hackenmutter,
Our
poor
favorite
Dragon.
custodial engineer.
I do. Okay, also another thing before we move on, where DeVito was like, he's kind of a pathetic villain. I agree. Because all I'm saying, like I said in the first time he popped up, he literally has all these powers. He could do whatever he wanted. He wants to destroy the very school that he is upset about students destroying. And doesn't see how, yeah.
You're part of the problem, Carlton. Also, big shout out to the cover.
Yes.
It is, the pose is our show cover. So,
yes.
Just happens to work out that way. Hi, Ron.
Hi.
I didn't know Ron Friends has TikTok. Who knew?
He didn't say that. He just said that he went on TikTok. You can watch TikTok without having an account.
Oh, really?
Yes, you don't have to sign up. Is that why you signed up?
That's why I signed up, because I thought I had to have one to. Yeah. Okay.
Oh my.
See,
you
this
really
is
are too old. You really are too old for TikTok. But it's not about age.
Yeah.
It's not an age thing.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel 90.
Again, it's not an age thing. They're 90 years old on TikTok.
That's true.
You're just technology. Technology has passed you by.
Oh no.
Yep. All right.
All right. So we're going to issue 81. I had these lovely banners made, and I forgot to use them. So info, cover date, February 2005, released on December 1st, 2004. So 17 years ago. Script, plot, and breakdowns by Tom and Ron. Finishes by Sal. Colors by Gotham. The title is I Scorn the Body Electric. Our issue breaks into the action right at the start. May is dodging blasts when Elektra is yelling at May about being in her business, and she corrects her.
It's not Elektra.
Well, that's what May calls her, is Elektra.
Yeah, but
I'm getting to that.
You should have said that a female supervillain is throwing electric bolts at her.
Female supervillain is throwing electric bolts at her and yelling at her about getting in her business, and May is calling her Elektra, but she then corrects her and says that Aftershock is her name. The guard tells Mayday that the truck was empty, so she's bad at being bad. And May kind of heckles her about that. So May's phone then goes off, and which causes, Aftershock to shoot another blast at her, and barely May manages to dodge the attack, and she lands in the trash. And believe it or not, she actually intended to do so. The guard tries to contain her, but Aftershock electrocutes him. May and runs off. May calls 911. May's phone rings again, and she answers. It's Brenda. Normie and her are getting engaged. So we then cut back to Forest Hills. May's at home, and she breaks the news to the family. And Peter decides...
This is the most realistic family conversation, and we have to talk about that later, because I enjoyed that whole page.
Yeah, so Peter goes off Peter points out that he barely has to do anything to get on her bad side. All he has to do is leave the toilet seat up. But the criminals don't have to do anything to get on her bad side. MJ steps in and tells him to stop, but Peter just then decides that, instead of, stopping while he's ahead, he decides to pivot to scold May for not coming home right after school to watch Benji. May then tells him, hello, I just told you about Aftershock, but Peter doesn't care. He says that the police could have handled it, the EMS could have handled it. They have their responsibilities, and so she has hers. May then runs upstairs saying that Peter's being unbelievable. MJ then comes in to talk to May more about Peter's intentions. He's trying to protect her. He's doing it in a very clumsily way, but he just has her best interest at heart. He doesn't want her to make the same mistakes, and so May kind of just grunts at this point, realizing that she's been kind of defeated. So the next day at school, May, Davida, and Courtney are talking about the Moose situation, and May kind of feels bad about her own petty squabbles with her father, while Moose may be completely losing his. The Avengers call, and Stinger remarks that May still has a secret ID. May jokes to Davida and Courtney that the Avengers are in fact calling, and they don't, of course, believe her. The real reason for the call is that Max Dillon, aka Electro, is at Avengers Mansion. The F5 were out of town, and he's looking for Spider-Man. May then shows up and tries to talk to him, and she reluctantly listens and decides that she's going to call her dad on his behalf. Peter takes the opportunity to try to apologize before he learns the reason for the call. He excuses himself with Phil and shows up at Avengers compound. He gets welcomed by Jarvis, and Electro and Spidey exchange pleasantries. They kind of feel they're a little ridiculous in the old outfits, and Max noticed the limp and how Peter's kid has his eyes. He explains that he is here for his daughter and how she's inherited his Electro powers. Max feels bad for the mistakes, and he doesn't want her to follow the same path, and he hopes that Peter can stop her before it's too late, similarly how he did with Electro. Peter then decides to put all the info that Electro has given, plus his own notes, into the computers, and he's constructing a model for trying to help. May is trying to be reassuring to him. Peter is utterly horrified by him being unable to hold his own child, and that hits home with me. But as they start to have this tender moment, it's interrupted by the Avengers, who wanted to meet the living legend. And they want autographs and things like that. May is shocked by all this. Until today, May had just seen her dad as her dad. She had never seen him with her fellow own peers. To her, he's just a guy, but to them, he is truly this living legend. This makes her wonder if she might need to meet him halfway. After an hour, she gets a spider tingle, and she doesn't call her dad yet. And after Allison hits the jewelry store, May gets the bags of money. A fight ensues, and May gets a few slaps in, but this just pisses off Aftershock. She is mad because it's death to touch her, of course. May tries to flash fry May, and then May decides to maybe call in some reinforcements. J2, American Dream, Max, and Pete are on a Quinjet. They're headed that way. And Max is downing Peter's plan because the problem right now is that Max and his daughter cannot touch each other. Their bioelectric powers shock each other and they hurt each other. And so Peter has a plan. Allison, of course, is ready to, quote, melt the flesh off her scrawny bones. May, of course, retorts that with the scrawny remark and says, I just thought this costume made me look fat. And, because spandex is very unforgiving. She also remarks about Allison's midriff. This irritates her more, and telling her that her father is the reason that she's going to die, because May's father took Electro, her father, away from her. And so just as a big bolt is coming, but it is blocked by J2 and his incredible bod. Aftershock is then surrounded, and Electro is there to help, despite what she thinks. And Peter gives his best advice he's given in a while. He says, quote, "You've come this far. You know what must be done. Being a father, a real father, is scary. It's hard, and it's 24/7, and sometimes it just plain hurts. The pain cuts deep, and it cuts both ways, but you have to show your daughter that she's worth it. You can't give up. You can never give up on her or yourself," end quote. The next page, Electro is hugging his daughter for the very first time. The emotions are there, and Aftershock says it's death to touch her, but Max doesn't care. And she asks why he left, why he was not there. And Electro was like, "I didn't have a choice." And so eventually the two of them finally get in sync, and she powers down. They finally and truly hug. We then cut back to home, where we learn that Aftershock will still have to pay for her crimes. MJ wonders out loud if Max is ready to be a father. But Peter says you kind of grow into that no one is ever prepared for parenthood. You just kind of grow into it. MJ decides to read the room and leaves, leaving Peter and May to talk. The next page, we then have MJ, who was woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning, and walks downstairs and sees her two favorite spider people slumped and asleep. MJ gets a blanket to cover them up, and the main part of the issue, ends. We have a bonus, another profile page, Spider-Girl and her amazing friends. This time, I forgot to put it on my notes who it was. It is Davida. So Davida gets her own entire breakdown on this.
But also, who...
I was going to bring that up.
Someone requested an outfit.
Yes. So on the letters page, Nicole Wiley introduces herself as the editor. And we get John Corner, Jason Walker, Tracy Sabo, and Mayday's Fashion Parade. John was suggested the fashions for the issue for that particular part. Amy Maurer did the fashions for the main story. So they had this contest that they had on the message board to do that. So the Mayday's Fashion Parade. So that was those fashions were suggested by actual people. So if you didn't know that, it is mentioned in the on the Amazing Friends page, but it's not mentioned that the main issue was done by Miss Amy.
Yes.
So
okay. One, I have a question about the parade, because I think that that's something we should talk about, since it's a fan thing,
right, that
could possibly wind up lost to time. So I want it recorded. I don't remember it. I know we've talked about it. Like, I lurked on the website, but I didn't really participate. I don't remember it. But I know for a fact that obviously I was 13 I just turned 14.
Yeah.
Around this time. So I'm 14. So this is definitely like I'm buying all of the fashion magazines. I want to look just like Mandy Moore, and Hilary Duff and all of those people, to age myself.
Right.
I'm trying to remember, because I remember distinctly knowing exactly what blazer and fake flower pen that was, and I'm trying to remember who wore it on a magazine, because I know for a fact those scanned photos are what y'all used. They had to have been. And I want to say it was Mandy Moore at a press conference.
I think so. Like, that part I don't remember specifically. I remember
I'm gonna find it. Because this is my thing. Like, on the fashion part of it, this is the stuff I remember. I can, as I'm rereading things, I can remember back when, like, I would be reading the comic like on one knee outside and having like a Teen Vogue on the other.
Yeah.
And I can remember seeing similar clothes and could pull it up, and like I could remember like. Yeah. So I'm just saying awesome. I'm just saying that I see these men pulling up women's fashion. John.
Yeah, they did. And by the way, the illustrator that designed Aftershock's outfit was Casey Jones.
Right.
So,
And
used a
because that's
particular.
that, and that's also Aftershock's first appearance, but we don't get her name, I believe. We just see her
Yeah,
fighting.
we just that she because that was the Dearest May issue with
Yeah.
Jean McKeever. That the only issue that
But
of the
the,
series that was not written by Tom.
yeah, and this is the thing is I can't remember the other guest artist.
That's the one that he like didn't he like your things on.
Yeah, he did. He followed the
Okay, I can't
30
remember
days of
the
Mayday
issue
2.
though.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's I feel so bad.
Yeah.
So we'll pull it up. But yes. So
Yes.
okay, yeah.
I'll
Because
look.
this is not Aftershock's first appearance, which is something I was going to talk about in my notes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So obviously, yeah, this is not Aftershock's first appearance. She is back.
Chris.
Yeah. Oh, Chris. Oh,
No, yeah.
his name's Chris, but I can't remember his. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh,
We are so bad. We are such bad. We're bad. We're bad Spider-Girl fans. We can't remember everybody. But so I'm gonna go into my review, which is, let's be fair, this is such a heartwarming story. It's one of my favorite comic book issues of all time, and to me, like it invokes a lot of memories. Kind of my dad's retired police enforcement,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times, because I think sometimes, especially in the 80s, my dad thought he was Batman. Um, there's a lot of wild, fun, not necessarily fun, but like a lot of wild stories. And
Mm-hmm.
quite frequently, we would have like a police officer would come in to do like dare or talk to us about like something. And they'd always point at, like, whenever they'd hear my name, they'd go, "Wait, are you Mike McDaniel's daughter?" And we'd have a conversation because they always had a story, and they always had this like very much respect for them. Like, too, we had a someone who was incarcerated um, for a very long time due to a drug bust at a dare camp, and they found out my name. They asked, who my dad was. One of the officers who were with that department at the time was like, "That's the guy that arrested you." And he's like, "Oh man, it was so cool. He rappelled down a building and then chased me a mile." And that's the stuff that like this kind of invoked in me a little bit. um, because it's, he's my dad, and through thick or through thin, like, he's not always going to be my favorite person. He's not always on a pedestal to me,
Mm-hmm.
but to other people who his career has inspired, which is a lot of people, honestly. And he's made a lot of friends and enemies and, etc. But, just from these different things, the people he's inspired, they look up to him. And it's kind of like May getting to see that. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I don't know. That's the way I've always connected it to me. And I've
Yeah.
always really enjoyed it. I know you have a
Oh
uh,
man.
different way
Uh,
of connecting to it. I think everybody does, and I think that's what makes it so great.
it's funny because I connect to it differently now than I did when it first dropped. Like when it first dropped, I connected to it in the sense of, you know, I had some estranged people in my life, family members, so I got it. But then now, the last 5 years, I've been in, living 600 miles away from my daughter. Um, and it's only been recently that I've been able to move down here and be with her on a consistent basis. And so it hits me much differently now than it did before. And, not being able to hold your kid is the absolute worst thing a parent can ever go through. Whether they're in the hospital, my mom and dad experienced that many a times with my sister, who was disabled from the time we were 3 weeks old, to, you know, being estranged and being, so far away where you only get to see them, a weekend out of the month or every other month, you know, it is gut wrenching. It is heart wrenching. So I can't imagine in Max's case how being unable to comfort your child as they're crying as a baby or they get cuts, it makes you wonder if uh, she didn't have control of her powers and something happened with her mother or something along those lines. You wonder what caused everything to happen the way it did. And so it's really just gut wrenching as a story. And, you know, when you have that type of situation, it's really hard for someone to go through that. So I just, it, there's days where you feel like you're letting your kid down. There's days where you can't do things right. There's times you wonder if you're doing the right thing or if you're doing a good job, and you feel like, man, I feel like I'm getting onto her all the time, and lately, Gabby is, it's the end of the semester, and it's getting close to Christmas, and so kids are, they're ready to be out of school, they're ready to be able to go do things, and it's getting closer and closer to winter break, and so she's acting out a little bit, and you got to get onto them, and then you feel bad because I never understood the phrase "this hurts me more than it hurts you" until I became a parent. So, and they became old enough to understand what that phrase is. Me telling that phrase to them.
Yeah.
When you have to ground them and take things away from them, and it shatters their world. So
Is this why my brother makes me be the bad guy when I'm at home to Gabe?
uh-huh.
Probably. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
probably why.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard. Like, because they look at you with the Bambi eyes, and they're like, at that point they turn into the sweet little mush ball, and I just want to scoop them up and just hug them so hard with a bear hug and like, stop being bad. But you gotta suck it up, Buttercup, and it cuts both ways. Like what Peter said. That's the reason I literally directly quoted from Peter in this issue, is because those sets of panels were just something that it hit me hard. Ron had a comment, says one of his favorites too, based on his niece's relationship with her estranged father. So, yeah, it really is truly one of the best issues, and I love this cover. I just
Oh yeah, no, it's one of my favorite covers. But
yeah.
I really do like, just to say on just how great the issue is the fact that like you can see different stories, different familiar stories within each person's relationship. Even though we only see Max and his daughter a little bit, we get a very rich backstory that feels human. And
Yes.
so, and that's kind of, like I said, like I've always connected to May kind of seeing her dad in a different light and kind of being reminded. But that's, because of my background. You see, I think you see both sides of Max and Peter.
Oh, absolutely.
And yeah, it's
because Peter was a jerk early in the issue. I mean, he really was a jerk today.
Okay, the way I've taken it is here's the thing. I guess I have to, like, once again, I am in defense of like non-cool dad Peter Parker. But the thing is he's being kind of insensitive. But like he's literally just speaking off the cuff, which I know my dad does all the time and does not think. And like I've had conversations with you like off the air just about it, like, because I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but my mom bought him something very nice for Christmas, and he immediately does something that could possibly mess that up without knowing, but like, because it's just he's not thinking of the full picture, and he's just
Uh-huh.
being himself. And that's the way I see Peter in that. Like, he's not necessarily being the best listener or really understanding, because for him, I don't think he really wants to think about the fact that May has a crush on Normie. Like, I don't think he even wants to, like, go there in his brain, so he's just not gonna.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's being real insensitive. Now, of course, it's really cold, because it's like, isn't that your godson that you're like literally you're literally kind of like ragging on?
He's such a disappointment. But,
No, it wasn't even disappointment. It was just like they all go crazy in the end, and it's like that.
like
What?
that's
Like,
Liz's
oh my
kid,
god!
too.
Like, it's very like, it's really funny in that outside looking in situation. But like, he doesn't know how to connect on the teen girl is kind of, she's not really heartbroken, but basically like teen heartbroken, and he doesn't get it. And this, hey, you get mad at me whenever this, why are you always mad at me and never mad at other people? I've had that conversation with my dad, because he doesn't get it that, like,
Yeah.
you know
There's very clear boundaries. And by the
yeah,
way, Chris Batista is the name.
there
of
we
the-
go.
It's Chris Batista.
Of course, I feel dumb now.
Issue 39.
But again, I can't remember numbers, and if I don't see the name constantly, I will. It's not that I forget it; it's that it's like out of sight, out of mind for a little bit.
Yeah, Ron also makes a comment. Nice of Bendis to make Peter's membership come true in the 616, because when obviously when the origins of the MC2 started, which like, there's a diverge point. Peter was only a reserve member, so he was not an official member of the Avengers. But it wasn't. Because we're actually around this time, I think, was Avengers Disassembled. I think
close to it, yeah.
It's around. It's pretty darn close. So, yeah. So,
All right.
I think we can jump forward to.
Yeah, I won't. My one random need to drag Brenda a bit for going, Spider Girl, it's me, Brenda Drago, and it's like, didn't like she just help you save Normie like a week ago? Like, I don't think she's forgotten your name, Brenda. I think y'all are friends.
Maybe in her defense, she was in wedding brain mode and she was engagement mode, and she's like, "Oh, I gotta get a cake and I gotta get a caterer," and she's making all these phone calls, and it's Brenda Drago. Yeah.
I don't. It was just really. I just thought it was funny. I don't, because it's something that, like, when you reread it, it's so minor, but it's something that when I was rereading it this morning, I was like, why'd she say it like that?
Yeah. All right, so
yeah,
Kelly's going to have the next 3 breakdowns.
Yes, because it is Inside the Beast, which is a 3-part story.
Which, weirdly enough, they put one of 3 on the cover, and then on the rest of it,
there's not.
It's not on the next 2 covers.
Well, they went with a different style on the next 2 covers, which I really enjoy.
Yes.
So yeah, it is a thing that happened. All right, so Spider-Girl 82, the cover date is March 2005, and it was on sale January 5th, 2005, which is where you found the 17 years ago thing, because I wrote, oh my god, it's been almost 17 years.
Yep. Where's the time gone? Like,
it's been 17 years since I've been a freshman in high school. No.
Yeah, I was a junior, sophomore year of high school.
I just knows all around here. All right.
Yeah.
But the title for this issue is called "You Only Hurt," and the issue starts at Normie and Brenda's engagement party. A lot of celebrities are there, as Foggy is hosting. So I think this is more like a New York City socialite status networking kind of event. May is thinking of how quickly things have changed in the last few weeks, especially in regards of with her and Normie. And Chris, who she has brought as her date, is asking her a lot of questions as he is pretty much starstruck and a little intimidated by not only Peter staring him down, but also Johnny Storm. Which I have to say, that's, he's a 16-year-old kid, and the Human Torch is giving you daggers because you're dating someone's daughter. Like, just...
that's the best.
It's great.
Even Waylon agrees.
Yes. All right. So May introduces Chris to her Uncle Phil and Aunt Mary. Mary introduces May to Riley Thine. And as they're talking, MJ notices him and thinks that he looks really familiar. So she asks Peter who he thinks Riley, or who this man looks like, because she doesn't know Riley. And Peter naturally thinks he's a redheaded Tobey Maguire. So, just to throw that joke in of its time. So Normie comes over to May and talks to her and Chris when May's spider sense starts to go off, but she thinks it's maybe her guilty conscience about her feelings towards Normie, so she shakes it off. And then Brenda shows up wanting to be introduced to Normie's adorable little friend, as she not so subtly takes Normie's hands off May's shoulders and lays it on really thick about how young May is and whisks her fiancé away. If I didn't know any better, I'd assume Brenda is also dealing with some jealousy, but, could be reading into that a little too much. As May stews in annoyance over how Brenda treated her, her spider sense goes off again, and Alon, aka Fury the Goblin Queen, comes to crash this engagement party. May gets Chris to relative safety and tries to get him to calm down. She wants to go and change into her webs, but she leaves them at home. Normie asks her what Alon is doing here, and Alon says she's there to pay her respects and that she spared no expense on her engagement gift to him as she throws VENOM in their containment ball from the last time we saw them onto Normie. And VENOM gladly takes his new unwilling host. Everyone is in shock at seeing this happen, and as Brenda tries to call out to Normie, VENOM knocks her down, and Johnny springs into action as the Human Torch, threatening to burn Normie out of the symbiote. Alon throws this green goo she calls a spirit sack on Johnny, creating an airtight seal to stop his flames. VENOM follows Alon out the crashed window as they go. Lyra and Johnny trail behind them as Johnny is freed from the spirit sack, and as Johnny says to call the police to help alert the other Fantastic Five, Brenda disagrees and says that she'll find her fiancé herself, as the police would only sacrifice Normie to capture VENOM. May tends to Chris's obvious shock and fear as MJ and Peter check on Foggy. Foggy blames himself because he feels like he brought this kind of on Normie since he didn't really approve of Brenda. He thinks that it's like he wished this on his stepson. The words hit May like a freight train because of her own, and what she feels is selfish reasons, and this feeling almost applies to her too. She is so stunned by the words that she misses Riley Thine slipping out of the aftermath as he changes into his final form, Dark Devil. So, when the Parkers get home, May wastes no time in getting suited up and ready to head out. As her parents protest about her going out to find Normie in her very emotional state, Brenda calls, mad that Spider-Girl wasn't there to help fight Alon and stop this. May tries to center herself, as it kind of upsets her that, what if Brenda did know that she was there and didn't do anything? And swings around looking for VENOM or Alon when a gas bomb goes off and dulls her senses and reflexes, causing her to fall. It takes all of her might to land, and she tries to get her bearings back, as she does, when Venom grabs her by the throat and throws her. As Venom taunts about how he can't wait to eat baby Benji, May gets the strength back to try and throw a punch. But, like Venom says, he has an ace in the hole and shows Normie's face as May almost lands the punch. This shakes May, and Venom uses this to slam Spider-Girl headfirst into a wall. Elan gets in on the fighting, and poor, dazed May is just getting tossed and tumbled around. Elan asks Venom if he'll share Spider-Man's secret identity, but Venom won't. Thankfully, Dark Devil appears to help Spider-Girl out with Venom, telling him that, and then Venom tells him that Normie has mixed feelings about the superhero. He appreciates the dedication to justice, but not how he treats Spider-Girl, and Normie is suspicious of his true motives with Spider-Girl. Dark Devil tells Venom his intentions are of no business for this symbiote, and Venom advises that he was just speaking for his host. Venom personally just wants to eat Dark Devil's heart, and he reaches in to Dark Devil's body to grab it. His hand basically goes straight through Dark Devil's chest. Dark magic fire bolt things explode out of Dark Devil, and the fire burns off part of the symbiote and reels Venom into shock when he retreats with Elan. May runs to Dark Devil's side and webs his injury up as best she can. She's never seen an injury like this before, and she begs him to wake up. To be continued.
All right. As Neil says, first we attack his heart. Yes.
I like Sven's making us feel old too.
Right, and then Sven's like, it's been 17 years since I was 4 years old. Yeah, thanks, appreciate that. But also, for the record, to bounce off of what Ron was saying about Bendis and the Avengers, New Avengers #1 came out 2 months before this issue.
Gotcha.
So issue 3 was out. So it was around disassembled.
Yeah.
So love this issue. I love Peter staring daggers through Chris. It kills me. That whole scene.
Because it's not just Peter. That's the thing. It's you have Peter and Johnny are talking, and then all of a sudden they just daggers.
They just stop. Also, one of my all-time favorite jokes, which may or may not be appropriate according to the internet, for the upcoming movie, is MJ's like, Peter, that young man speaking to May, aka Riley, doesn't he remind you of someone? You mean the guy with the red hair? Yeah. Wait till he turns around. Tell me who you think he looks like. And he goes, yeah, sure. I see who you mean. She's like, you do? Yeah, he's a dead ringer for what's his name? Tobey Maguire.
It's a good joke.
It's a great joke, and then the best part is the panel itself. And for those of you that are audio listeners, you're not seeing the panel. MJ rolling her eyes is the best panel ever.
It's
especially
honestly some of my favorite comic art is in these 3 issues. To me, it's amazing. Thank you, Ron. And Sal Buscema. Like, I really enjoy it. Like, there's so much. There's a lot of personality, and it feels dynamic, and like people are moving, and it's not just pretty. It's pretty, but it also tells the story very well. So yeah, I enjoy it.
The little background things are fun. Like MJ kind of looking at Riley suspiciously in the background. The two of the superhero dads, staring daggers of doom, that's awesome. Just the little things, man. It's so good. And Ron, correct me if I'm wrong. Was this your first time drawing Venom? Not obviously the alien costume, but Venom itself? Because I don't recall him ever drawing Venom before this in a comic. So I'm kind of curious about that.
I don't think it was the first time, but he will correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So.
But his Venom is awesome. Like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
best. Love his Venom with Normie. So fun, so dynamic. You can tell he was having a blast drawing the fun.
Oh.
So, hey, I was right. It was, yes. He says in a comic, yes, that was his first time drawing. He probably did it at commissions and stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was very good. And just to continue with the shout outs, by the way, speaking of Venom, aka Matt from our first episode, he had a letter in the letters page, as
Nice.
did John Jacob, John Dillon, James Hunter, and Michael Jung. So they had letters in the letters page in Mayday's mailbox.
Nice.
So, but yeah, no, love this issue. Love Dark Devil in here. The panel of Dark Devil jumping down when he first appears is just chef's kiss. Just absolute fantastic. And the writing was so
Oh yeah.
upbeat, poppy, and just really you could tell these
Jeez, that
guys
was
were,
weird. No, sorry, it was like a eyelash fell in my eye. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
I thought you sneezed. I was
No.
like, good job with the mute button.
No, it was like an eyelash. Like that was weird. All right. Anyway, sorry.
No. Fury looks awesome. It's and Rinkman's right. Ron's Venom is awesome, but his Carnage and Amazing is even better. Yeah, we can't wait to talk about that later.
We will talk about it later
Yes.
because we got to get through another story before that makes sense.
So yeah. Kelly, your thoughts on this issue?
I mean, obviously, I kind of sprinkled them in a little bit as I generally do in my breakdowns, but really, like I said, this is one of my favorite comic book stories of all time. Like, not even just Spider-Girl. I love this story, mostly because Venom really likes to spill Normie's secrets in these 3 issues, and it does come off very like menacing and almost kind of like not like I remember when I originally read this, I was like, ooh, like he's just like pulling this out of his brain and it's not done, willingly, and this is kind of weird, and it feels really bad. Now after watching Sony Venom, this is just really funny. And I know that that's not intentional, but like, because all I could hear was Tom Hardy's Venom voice rereading this today.
I still haven't seen Carnage yet. Let there be Carnage yet.
I mean, it's not bad, but it's. You do need to watch the end credits on that before seeing No Way Home.
I have been spoiled on that, and I have seen that. So
okay.
I am aware of what happens in the post credits. So because it does may or may not tie into other things.
Yeah, but we'll talk because Venom lets us in on one of Normie's deepest, darkest secrets. That is one of my favorite things in the whole wide world because it just makes me happy. It's just a thing that makes me happy. Okay, and we'll talk about it as we get on. But it's just like you start to see a little bit of that where he's like, "Oh, my new host doesn't know what to think of Dark Devil," and it just kind of keeps happening. But I do want to also point out, since we'll talk about it in a little bit, Venom won't tell Elon who Spider-Man is. He won't tell her that it's Peter Parker. And so I just kind of want to at least bring that up, that like there's still certain things that like Normie is clearly at least the way that I read this is almost like Normie is still fighting back, and it could be respect where Venom does respect his host and does in a way respect Peter as well, but it's very much like, you know what I mean, like we can kind of see a little bit of Normie is fighting in there. He's not just down for the count as a host. So with that,
there is a semblance of control.
Yeah. All right, so with that, I think we can go to the next
83 breakdown.
Yeah. All right. So 83. The title of the issue is Kill Phil, like Kill Bill. The cover date is April 2005, and it was on sale February 5th, 2005. So Spider-Girl runs through the Avenger mansion carrying a passed out and severely injured Dark Devil. Stinger has the med bay ready and asks for details on what happened. May runs through it as best as she can as they get to the bay so she can lay Dark Devil down. Doc Magnus comes in to help, and the rest of the Avengers head to the debriefing room. May doesn't quite understand why or what else they really need to know. Alon is a Green Goblin groupie and may have finally succeeded in corrupting Normie Osborn. They just need to separate the symbiote from Normie and capture Elon. Seems simple. May gets really annoyed when they start taking forever to get to the debriefing, and she's not really a server. I think she's more like a secretary, but in this case, she's kind of asking people for their orders. And her name is Kiana Moran. And I wanted to bring that up since we do get her name. And she offers her sandwiches and herbal tea. This really kind of gets on May's nerves because this is going absolutely nowhere and May feels like she's wasting her time. Mainframe starts the debrief and is a bit callous towards Venom's unwilling host as May tries to remind them that the host has a name and is a friend of hers. Freebooter then says the Osborns are connected to the goblins, so, like, are we really sure that this isn't some power play? It then really sets May off, and she emphasizes she needs to save him. She has a responsibility to. And, of course, the Avengers make note that, yes, they want to save, the victim, essentially. They want to save Normie, but they also have to think about the damage and the civilians that may get caught in the crossfire. So the Avengers start bickering again on how to save the public from Venom and save the host and what they can do and can't do. So meanwhile, Magnus is getting overwhelmed with the severity of Dark Devil's injuries. Thankfully, Jarvis called Dr. Strange, and Strange has offered his assistance. Avengers talk to Fantastic Five, and Big Brain offers a machine that should safely separate Venom from the host. As Mainframe works on setting the teams up to get this going, Whedon and his team call to advise that Venom is in their jurisdiction since he is a known terrorist, and they are going to find and capture him. May quips that they might as well invite the X-People too if everyone is getting involved, and she starts to head out. Stinger tries to talk to her about, just kind of make her understand why it's taking so long and to hold tight, but May doesn't want to hear it. She's out of there. Dream and Stinger follow May out, reminding her she's running on her emotions and she could get hurt or she could hurt others if she's not careful, but that's the issue. Dark Devil is already hurt because of May, and she wants to save Normie, not just stop Venom. She has to think of a way to get everyone to just not shoot at him first. Peter calls her to check in, tells her that the family is over at the Baxter building for safety, and he heard that the Avengers were meeting there in a bit, asking if she's going to be with them. May is honest and says she isn't, but she'll be there as soon as she can. And as they're talking, Peter accidentally gives May her bright idea, albeit it's not his intention. She realizes she needs her black suit. So she heads to Phil's, storage area, warehouse thing. I'm not sure if that's the Lady Hawk's warehouse or not. I'm not 100% sure on that.
I think so.
Okay.
I think it is.
All right. So anyway, she goes to where she has stored her extra suits, and she sees Phil getting into his Green Goblin suit, and Phil is really ecstatic about the Warriors also being invited to help the Avengers stop Venom. So now I'm slightly wondering if maybe someone didn't realize that May was being sarcastic. And so then they were like, yeah, we should definitely call everybody else. Because that's kind of the way it feels. So anyway, Phil is really, really excited about this because it kind of feels like, he feels like he's finally getting this recognition and that the Warriors are finally getting their big break to be heroes. And, Phil keeps asking about Dark Devil because he can't get a hold of him, but May tells him he needs to talk to the Avengers about it, and tells him to remind them that she'll be wearing her black suit. Phil thinks this idea is absolutely insane, but May does have a point. This is a way to hopefully get people to think before they shoot or harm Venom, which could help save Normie or get her killed. It's high risk for a high reward. So Phil knows he can't talk her out of it and tells her to save her rationalization as he leaves, stating she's just like her father. May's phone goes off and she answers it. It's Chris. He's a total wreck. He's hearing all about Venom on the news and it's making him panic about what could have happened. May tries to ground him and center him and just tells him that, it didn't happen. It's going to be okay. He just has to move past it. He asks how he can move past it and then asks to come over. And one of my notes here is like, he did start this call off with like, hey, is it too late to call? So I have no clue what time this is. So I'm not going to go fully into that implication, but what is Chris thinking? So anyway, May tells him it's not a good time and has to cut the call short because something is setting off her spidey sense. Obviously, it's Venom, who taunts May with how he's now one with Normie, and they want to eat Chris's brains. Venom mentions he even knows... I like to, Venom is straight up like, no, it's Normie that wants to eat his brains.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Venom.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, lost my place there. So Venom mentions that he even knows about Phil and his costume identity and friendship with Normie. Phil is gliding through the sky on his way to meet with everyone, kind of speaking out his grievances to himself because he was really happy.
It is almost Festivus after all.
It is almost Festivus, so he's expressing his grievances for Festivus, and he's, he feels a little bad because he was getting really excited about, his kind of big hero break, and is upset that May is going to pull this stupid stunt and make it all about her. At least according to how he's talking about it. And he's really not fully paying attention here. So something tries to blow him up. It's Fury, and she's out for blood since he dishonors the Green. Venom and May are fighting, and Venom is all too willing to share info to May as they fight. Like how they were stalking her the whole time she was looking for them. How Normie won't allow Venom to tell secrets to other people, like to Alon about Green Goblin or Peter. But Venom knows it's Phil, and Venom knows everything. And then Venom compliments May's black suit. May forcefully cuts the lights, and Venom blurts out how he knows about May's crush on Normie. Venom taunts May more with that, about how Normie may be crazy, but he's no cradle robber. May knows to not let this get to her. She needs to focus on what her spider sense is telling her and find Venom in the dark. She gets a few good hits in, something even Venom is impressed by, but clearly he's just toying with her as he tears open a wall to let the light flood in. Meanwhile, our mystical doctors are trying to help Dark Devil when they feel that something isn't right. Zarathos, am I pronouncing that correctly? Because I don't read.
Zarthros, I do not know.
Yeah, all right. I'm going to say it till somebody corrects me. But Zarathos comes out, and I wrote, very Wizard of Oz-like, claiming that this body is his. Phil and Alon are still fighting. Phil jumps off his glider to knock Alon off hers, and they both go tumbling into a skylight below them. And in my notes I wrote, and he calls May's ideas stupid.
Yeah.
Just saying. All right, so May and Venom are fighting with May, getting some good, and May's getting some really good licks in until Venom lets Normie free just enough for him to tell her to keep fighting, and together they can free him. Venom then basically calls her pretty pathetic and says that it's almost as bad as Normie, who still believes he can free himself. We get this split page at the end where we see Phil on the floor with a very menacing Fury shadow over him, and Venom over Mayday telling Spider-Girl that it's time for her to die. To be concluded. We do get an info page for Phil, though, but I did not see any requested outfits this time, and that's sad.
I do like his Larry Moe and Curly tie though.
Oh yeah, no, it's great.
Stooges.
Yep, yep. Oh
I
yeah.
want-
Wait, we now have to explain the Three Stooges, don't we? I don't think I don't
Oh
think any
God, do
reruns
we?
have. Yeah, I don't think any reruns have been playing for a while because they used to be on Turner Classic Movies
Yeah,
in the 90s,
yeah,
but that was before everyone had Turner Classic Movies, and I don't think anybody does now.
yeah. Unless you get like, I think now all the TCM stuff would be on Turner, or would it be on HBO Max? I think. Yeah,
Yeah, because it's Turner Properties. It's
yeah,
in the
Turner
Turner
property.
Vault. Yeah.
But the Three Stooges were a comedy troupe. There was three guys. At least Neil knows who the Three Stooges are.
It's almost kind of like a vaudevillian skit that's comedy. Oh, okay, great. Okay, Sven knows them from Scooby Doo reruns. Also,
There you
everyone
go.
should watch Scooby Doo because that's been going since the 60s.
Yeah, yeah. But like, yeah, I can't remember what it was the other day that me and Sarah were talking about something, and she asked her student about it, and like, did not
Yeah.
even know what it was, like, had no clue, and we felt so old. If you ever get to feeling old, go work at a high school when you've been out of high school for 15 years. So, yeah, I love this issue. Great artwork. I think that final page is a homage to Tom and Ron's amazing run, but I can't remember the issue off the top of my head. For some reason, it came across to me as a homage. If I'm right, great. If I'm wrong, Ron will correct me in the comments. But love the artwork in this issue. Love the way Venom and Mayday go. I love this cover and the way that they use the black and white element in this cover and the next cover.
Also, that is on. They made some shirts with that originally.
Yes.
I know that then they put that print on the crop top. So I have a blue crop top from Superhero Stuff that I think should still be there. So generally, Marvel likes to use this cover for T-shirts a lot.
And Back in Black, it being on the cover, obviously that was the event in Spider-Man later on, a couple years later.
Yes.
So
yeah,
love the issue. I think just the details. This is very much the big MC2 issue. And I remember reading this. This was my first introduction to Doc Mangus, or Magus. So I was interested in him, and I think I read this issue before I read the Dark Devil miniseries. So like these next couple issues kind of fill in the gaps for me. But yeah, love all pretty much everybody but the X people showed up.
I mean, for all we know, the X people are there. Like,
Yeah.
because eventually May leaves, and we don't really see. All we know is that it takes over 24 hours for them to form and finally start their manhunt. So spoilers for the next issue because we'll figure that out. But basically, like for all we know, they totally did. In fact, that's my headcanon for this now. It's probably totally wrong and not what was agreed on, but I'm gonna say that the X people did also show up. It was a whole like Marvel event that we just did not see because May had enough of the crap. Because it was though, like they were taking it for her, like for her.
Threat.
Yeah, well, they were taking it as a massive threat, but they were also taking their time, which is sure appropriate. But the thing is for May and in her emotions, time is of the essence.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't getting on board. Like they weren't understanding the severity of the situation for May because they weren't May.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't Spider-Girl. They don't fully understand. They're treating it as Venom. She's treating it as Normie is being held hostage. And,
Yeah. And once
you know,
again,
it's that kind of dichotomy that I enjoy here. So,
yeah.
for all we know, all of MC2 wound up on this manhunt that never actually happened.
Yeah, had there been a companion series, there would have been a whole "Where's Venom" arc, and we wouldn't, and it would have been a very poor resolution.
Everyone was too busy trying to decide what sandwich they wanted.
Exactly, and what herbal tea they needed, and or both.
Yeah,
Like pretty
both.
much everybody but Rena and the X people and
Rena wouldn't have stayed there either. Let's be fair.
No, yeah. This is entirely too big of a waste of my time. I'm out of here. Like, she'd have been like, nope.
She would have ran out there too.
Right?
So
She'd been like, I'm out of here. I'll go find him myself, and I'll stab him in the face with my psychic claws. For those that are audio listeners, you don't know what I'm doing. I'm actually I'm holding up the Rena.
The Wild Thing.
Wild Thing action figure.
Action figure, yeah. So anyway, just again, I find there's certain things rereading this, especially I think because I have like the Tom Hardy Venom voice in my head now, that some of this stuff does come off as funny, and I remember that that's not how I took it at 14. Right. But I also too, like, especially as we go into this next issue, there's some things that feel very unsettling at the end that I shouldn't spoil it for the people that are reading along with us for the first time, but you'll understand why it's kind of funny to me later. So with that, if you don't have anything else to say,
we'll go to our final breakdown of the evening.
Yeah.
Spider-Girl 84.
Yep. All right. So, I've got a whole bunch of stuff here, but I'm going to actually talk about it towards the end because it's still the taunting.
Gotcha.
So we'll talk about Venom's motives on that in a bit. So, Spider-Girl 84, it cover date was May 2005, and it was on the shelf March 9th, 2005. The title of the issue is I, Hero. May survives Venom's attack, and he actually seems grateful. May quips, and Venom clarifies that he's speaking for Normie. Venom tells May that Normie is groveling for her life, but Venom will suck the marrow from her bones. Which, as I kind of wrote on here, I really think Venom is going from the twisting the thoughts to like straight up embellishing here. Because when this doesn't really work to shake May up the way he wants, Venom reminds her that Fury plans to kill Phil. And that does get May pretty riled up. But Venom once again says a little too much, and we learn that he thinks he killed Dark Devil. He isn't aware that Dark Devil is still alive. Speaking of Dark Devil, Strange and Mags make a house call via astral projection into Dark Devil's psyche, or soul realm, whatever you want to call it, to see exactly what they can do about the demon that inhabits his body. We cut back to learn literally my favorite piece of useless information about Normie Osborn and why he is my second favorite character of all of the MC2. He is a Disney-phile. Venom sings a bit of the dwarf's working song from Snow White and shares what he thinks is some really deep, dark secret to May about Normie's Disney obsession and his DVD collection. Venom tells May that it's something that only Normie has ever shared with Brenda. May brushes it off reminding Venom that she's just Normie's friend. But he goes back in on the crush and how Normie even knows she still wants to be more than that. Saved by the phone, though, as her cartridge phone starts to ring, she lets it go to voicemail as she prevents Venom's destruction from killing civilians, hoping that Phil can go toe-to-toe with Fury since his rescue is going to be a little bit delayed. Phil and Alon are still in their standoff, and as Phil throws a stun pumpkin, Elon catches it and disintegrates it in her hands. Phil might not be able to go to toe right now, and he's feeling that. But before we can see any more, Spider-Girl leads Venom into a bakery, asking the bakers to run, though Venom is a little quicker than that. He knocks May down and tells her that she has to accept responsibility now for the baker's suffering from his symbiotic hands since basically she led him straight to them. When all of a sudden, Normie's exposed hand, which I now feel like, I think I did talk about it, but basically when it took off when Venom went through Dark Devil and burned his hand, the symbiote did not cover that hand again, so Normie's free hand has kind of just been there this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, Normie is able to grab the Venom cleaver knife thing and push it back from the bakers that Venom was about to cut up.
Mm-hmm.
So this gives Mayday a chance to start beating Venom up again as she tells Normie not to give up and to keep fighting. As in Dark Devil's psyche, Strange and Mags find that Zarathos has captured Daredevil's spirit and is done with his mad quest of justice, as Zarathos only wants vengeance. Magnus spots a teen. He is also riding a motorcycle. He's having a time.
He is the spirit. He is part of the spirit of vengeance. So that's where that.
Well, yes, yeah. It's just it's very much the Why did the name escape me now? Nick Cage.
Oh, Ghost Rider.
Yeah, Ghost Rider. So it is very since it's very part Ghost Rider.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really fun panel to see. But yeah, Zarathos just wants his vengeance, man. So Magnus spots a kid lurking around the shadows. They speak to Riley, who explains why Matt and Zarathos are hanging out in his little soul world, and what threw the balance off. He asks for help to restore the balance he knows, something that Magnus at first doesn't really understand. They can help him and exorcise these spirits and demons so he can live his life as a normal human again. But, Magnus also then mentions that he looks very young. Riley tells him that a normal life isn't for him, and honestly, he's probably older than Magnus, which I do think that's true by reading the miniseries. Yeah. But I am going to preface, I understand that some fans disagree with this. And we're going to stay at a standstill here.
We're to episode 13 of the show, and when we deep dive into
we really do try to bridge this together and try to make this work.
Yes, we do.
Within the MC2, it further diverts it from the 616. So anyway, so that he's definitely older than Magnus, and Riley knows who and what he is. He wants to continue being Dark Devil. May kicks Venom's butt, telling Venom that while she beats him on the outside, Normie is beating him on the inside, and it's just a matter of time before they win. Venom, however, has one more secret to tell. Normie's dip in the goblin goo did affect him, but Normie knew May suspected as much. May tells Venom she trusts Normie, but before she can say any more, Venom knocks a safe into her and tells May that Normie was always going to betray her, first by marrying Brenda, and then using his powers to... May cuts Venom off. She's done with Venom's lies, or lies that she sees, and she kicks him as her phone rings. Venom uses this as an excuse to capture May. Venom continues with his word warfare, saying that Peter never thought May was worthy of the webs, a twist on the fear that Peter had about May running into danger when Venom last bonded with him way back in issue 3 or 4, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was issue 5.
Issue 5. Okay, I keep thinking it's 3 or 4. But issue 5. So Venom even throws out that now that Peter has a son, which is weird and rude. I wasn't aware that Venom was sexist. May is definitely not worthy of the webs. Venom also criticizes May for pretending to be Brenda's friend, when really she wants to steal her fiancé. May tries to fight back because that's honestly just absurd. But she can't get out of Venom's grip. She tells Venom that, what he's assuming of her friendship just isn't true. Venom drags her closer into him, telling her that none of it matters anymore anyway because he's going to do her a favor. And he's going to absorb her too, and then Normie and her can be together as one and live happily ever after. Alon has Phil badly beaten and holding him by his neck. She goes on a little too long about her evil plans and how Phil isn't a match for her, giving Phil just enough time to detonate all of his pumpkin bombs, get out of her grip, and jam his bag into Fury's glider as he falls back into the mannequins as Fury's glider explodes. Spider-Girl keeps fighting and struggling against Venom's tendrils, desperate to break free, but she can't seem to. She calls out to Normie to help her, and using his free hand, he pulls her in. She merges with the symbiote, and Venom is pleased with his victory. He thinks about which Parker is next on his list when, well, he doesn't feel so good. Venom gets ripped apart as May and Normie break free and allowed, and I had to write it out, so I'm going to try and pronounce it, but a squawoosh sound. So, woohoo! They're free! Max and Riley notice that Strange left them during Riley's speech and proposal of what he wants done in his body, and finds that Stephen is battling Zarathos to free Matt's soul. Magnus isn't sure what to do since any movement to Matt could result in them getting blasted. So Riley picks up Max straight up bridal style and flips them over the magic light show. Magnus mentions the move is very similar to Spider-Girl, and Riley admits to being distantly related. He frees Matt. I don't know why I wrote feels, but he frees Matt's soul and joins him. Since these forces join, Zarathos grows smaller, so to speak. Fury managed to survive the blast, and so did Phil, who seems a bit less worse for wear than Fury does. He knocks Alon out and calls the cops, asking for an ambulance for himself and that he might be asleep when they get there. May preheats a oven at the bakery and asks Normie to put the symbiote in the oven to keep it inert long enough for the Avengers and F5 to get there. But Normie doesn't want to which May rightfully freaks out. Normie says that he and the symbiote have talked and come to an agreement. He's established dominance over it since he won, and if he can beat the Osborn curse, he can handle a little alien symbiote. And then tells May to trust him and, answer her phone. Stop asking him questions because her phone is still ringing. May answers her phone while telling him their conversation isn't over, and it's Brenda. Brenda's wondering where Spider-Girl is as everyone has finally gathered to the Avenger Mansion after 24 hours, and they are ready to finally start a manhunt. But May tells her it's over. she found Normie and saved him. Normie talks to Brenda and says that everything's fine and Venom won't be a menace to anyone anymore. The end for now.
Ah, yes. Normie taking on the Venom symbiote. This is gonna end well. I love this issue. I also love that it took literally the Avengers 24 hours to finally stop bickering long enough to finally launch this manhunt.
It's not okay. It's not that they started bickering. The whole thing is they were sitting there. They were like constructively trying to plan things out, hearing everybody's side, treating
Yep.
everybody with respect and kindness and fairness. And every single thing that they could agree on was we should get more opinions.
What's your opinion there, Brenda? Like the gathering of all the superheroes and artwork fantastic in this issue. Love the battle. I love how Phil defeats Fury. That's an impressive feat that he was able to defeat her because she way overpowered him throughout this entire battle, and he was able to win. So I love Phil's moment in this issue. I love the fight between May and Peter. It's kind of similar to how Peter defeated Venom at the second appearance, where Peter was like, "Here, take me." And he took off all his clothes, and it was like going between Peter and Eddie, and it literally, the shock of it almost destroyed it. So that was cool. I I like how Venom's like, "Ooh, no, I got one Parker down. Now I'm gonna eat the rest of them." Like, okay, Venom. Yeah, for it is interesting plot point. Love how everything went down. The stuff with the Mindscape with Dark Devil, always fun, and I loved how Strange kind of got realizing it's Daredevil, got proactive.
Yeah.
And that Magus also realized that you're agile enough to be like a relative of Spider-Girl. And he's like, something like that.
Yeah.
Something that will never get acknowledged to Spider-Girl on screen.
On screen?
Or on the page. So
I was about to be. I was like, I don't know how they would. They would need a lot of time to explain Dark Devil on screen. But
Bye Firestorm. Bye Firestorm.
So one of my things about these 3 issues and something I want to bring up is just like, because Venom is very, very forthcoming about information.
Yep.
It is very much like, I'm just gonna spill all of Normie's secrets. I'm just gonna do it. But like, he can't do it to other people, but he could do it to May, which kind of shows that it's probably a lot of the control from Normie. Which I don't know what that says about Normie's like, say a bunch of things, and you can say whatever you want to say. I'm gonna like pummel you on the inside and try to get out while she's fighting you. But one of the things that I do want to bring up, because I really, really liked it, was I don't think anything Venom actually said was 100% false. He embellished and he twisted things, but what he was saying had truth to them. Or maybe I'm the only one that like read it that way, but like, he was very clearly like, to get to May, he was peppering in these almost manipulations using bits and pieces of the truth. And of course, I have to make mention, Normie likes Disney. He is a childless millennial like us, or like me. So,
right.
Like, I don't know. It's something like, it's completely useless information.
It just goes to further our headcanon that he was listening to Be Prepared from the line.
No, that's literally where I created that stupid headcanon, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
Right.
like I said, I think that lines up perfectly. He was listening to the Lion King soundtrack while he was, in What If 105, and no one can convince me otherwise. And why would you want to convince me otherwise? It's just it's fun.
Right.
So yeah, but yeah, no, like I said, my biggest takeaway from this is just like I really, really enjoy the conversations that May had with Venom, and kind of like I said, the very twisted truth bombs that Venom had, in that discussion. I also too want to bring up, like, I remember at first reading this at 14 and being very, very scared at what was going to happen next, because Normie didn't want to get rid of Venom. Because at the time, you're not seeing it as just a symbiote. Like, you're seeing Venom.
Right.
And he doesn't want to get rid of Venom. He doesn't want to get rid of that possible power. And, we have in the back of our minds that was brought up about he did fall in the vat of goblin goo. And how did that affect him? And now we find out that Venom's at least trying to tell her, oh, do you know he's rushing to get married to Brenda to spite you? Which I don't think was true at all, obviously. But, like, it's those things where, like, you first read it and you're like, oh no, what's happening? Like, is he going to become bad? Which, again, I'm not going to spoil the rest of the issues. If you haven't read them, please read along with us. Please read them.
Tune back in next time when we.
Yeah, well, I don't think we do bring it up a little bit. It's a slow burn for a little bit.
Yeah, it's a plot point for a while.
Yeah, but it's to me, it's like you got that feeling versus now, and I have to say it again, it has a lot to do, for better or for worse, the Sony Venom movies, and how they kind of played on the Lethal Protector comedy bits. This just seems like a 20-year-old boy and like his new stepbrother fighting. So one's overheard all of his secrets, like is reading his diary out, and they're like bickering, and my brain, like, I think I wrote it in my notes, is like, for some reason my brain thinks that this needs, like, their Normie and the symbiote's relationship, especially right here, needs like a Step Brothers-esque movie.
Agreed.
Which doesn't really help, but it was just something silly, because again, I'm hearing this now. This is very much hindsight, so I'm not it's not as high stakes as it was when I first read it. So now it's just there's a lot of funny elements here, because it's like, why is Venom just like trying to embarrass, because he's trying to like throw May off, but all it's doing is basically just like airing Normie's dirty laundry.
Yeah, it was very much I remember reading this, and I won't do it, but getting like the feeling of like, oh no, is Normie bad? Like, is Normie going back to the dark side again? And you're right, because like the stakes are really, really get amped up here. Also, apparently, Sev didn't realize that Normie's like way older than May.
No, not way older. Since she's 16, he's 20. I think he's like 5 years. I think he's technically like 4.5 or 5 years older than her.
Yeah.
So it's not that much older, but at the same time, thinking about their ages, like, I mean, it's kind of a different standpoint of like, if somebody was 35, to my 31, that's not much of an age gap anymore, but like the maturity level and everything, because May is a teenager.
Yeah. I mean, my wife's Sarah and I are about 9 years apart, so when we start really like drilling that down, she likes to use that to make fun of me. So
Yeah. So it's.
He's like, bruh, I started reading this at May's age, and now I'm Normie's age. Things are whack. Oh, just wait. You poor
summer child. Poor sweet summer child. But yeah, no. I don't know. It's like I said, it's these little things, especially rereading it, and just kind of what I think it's too. It's certain characters have a different feel now that we've seen them in different mediums and different lights, and so now it's kind of, like I said, it's Venom almost comes off slightly comedic in the fact that he's just like, how do I throw her off her game? I know. I'm going to read Normie's. Like, I'm going to just tell out all of his deepest, darkest secrets.
Did you know he's a Disney file?
I really love the fact that he played that off. He was like, you don't know this, but Brenda does. And May's just like, cool.
Thanks. I
Like,
think.
great.
So,
You know, it's, I don't know. Like I said, that's what struck me the most. I don't know if you have any final thoughts on that,
I'm not gonna.
or if you disagree with it, or because
No,
I know
don't
that that's
disagree.
probably weird.
Everything you said, I completely agree with, and I think it's a lot of fun. These 5 issues were really a lot of fun tonight, and I'm really glad that we covered them. I felt just these are some fabulous books. These are definitely ones that you need to go back and pick up or read on Marvel Unlimited.
Yes.
Fingers crossed we'll get this collected in maybe volume 4. No, volume 5.
Yeah, it would be volume 5. Speaking of which, volume 4 is up for pre-order, so definitely go ahead and pre-order it. I believe it's April that it's coming out.
Yes.
So, and you know, unlike volume 3 and what happened with the pandemic, it has not been pushed back. So,
right.
I think we're smooth sailing on printing right now. In terms of the Funko Pops, we'll work that out.
We'll work that out. We do have an email, and I do want to have a swag call that I got to acknowledge.
Swag call?
Yeah.
Are we calling them swag calls?
I don't know. I got some
what?
swag.
Mail call. Okay, I was like, I thought you meant somebody called the voicemail.
No. No voicemails.
Sorry.
No voicemails lately. Sorry. Voicemail line is 818-925-6631. That's 818-925-6631. That is the voicemail line. If you want to be on the program, we will play it, but we don't have any voicemails to play this episode, and I'm really sad.
Aw. And we don't have any podcast reviews either, do we?
No, I looked this morning and I did not see any. So leave us a review on your favorite podcatcher if you're listening to us on the audio edition of the show. Always encourage, though, those of you audio listeners to go find us on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe there too. So, all right, we did get a email from Vinkman. Hello, Vinkman. It says, hello, Kelly and Zach. Thank you for another exciting, thrilling, informative, and always entertaining episode of my favorite current podcast, Make Mine Mayday. Something I meant to bring up during the live stream, but forgot because I was having too much fun listening to Kelly rant about Fabian, which was fun.
I mean, I don't know how fun it is. Like, he's literally, like, legit one of the most terrifying villains that May has fought for entirely
all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, for different reasons than normal.
That was the Black Tarantula Lady arc showcased a long-running staple of the Spider-Man books, organized crime. His friend Andy Leland, the host of the Palace of Glittering Delights, and I think Andy also used to host Fantastic Cast, but I cannot recall off the top of my head, always makes the argument that Spider-Man is a crime noir book because in addition to the costume villains, he's also battling with big-time gangsters like Big Man and the Enforcers, Crime Master, the Kingpin, Silvermane, Hammerhead, Tombstone, and so on and so on. With Spider-Girl, May is continuing the family tradition of going up against the seedy underbelly of the New York crime world, be it Canis, Mr. Nobody, the Faces, Black Tarantula, and even a Hobgoblin. We'll see that later on. There's just something that's undeniably classic about it. Not surprising considering that Spider-Man always feels most at home when he's dealing with street-level threats, and the same is true with his daughter, at least, in Earth 982. In recent years, it seems we've gotten more and more science fiction and fantasy-type Spider-Man stories where Spidey is going up against threats that would probably be better handled by Doc Strange or the Fantastic Four. And while he doesn't mind dipping into that territory every once in a while, he doesn't want it to become he doesn't want it to ever become the default. That's why he's enjoying revisiting Spider-Girl with us. When you compare things like Superior Spider-Man, Spider-Verse, or the Kindred Saga, it's so nice to be rereading books that feel like quote unquote classic Spidey. That's all for now, and until Marvel makes a J2 plushie, make his Mayday. Sincerely, Vinkman. Thank you, Vinkman.
Yeah, thank you.
I 100% agree with you. I enjoy street level stuff with Spidey. I enjoyed a lot of the Kindred Saga. If you want to hear my thoughts on that, you can obviously go to Spidey to Experience. I really enjoyed the Ben Reilly stuff when he was Spider-Man the first time. When they were kind of doing the more crime noir stuff, like with with Howard Mackie and Romita Jr. on Adjectiveless Spider-Man during that period. So I've always enjoyed that stuff myself. And I enjoy how May balances that because obviously you've got these Omega level threats, as we'll get to in the next episode.
Well,
but
she doesn't really enjoy those either. She would
No.
kind of, if May had her choice, she would also be doing street level stuff. And I think I think that's kind of the difference. Like when people are always wanting, yes, answer the most important question, please.
Yes. Okay. So I got two doggies, and one is Daisy. She is part
Aw.
Dalmatian and part boxer, and then the one in the corner is Waylon. They're both.
Way.
Way's he's ready for bed. It's
Yeah,
his bedtime.
I feel. So yeah.
That is the doggie's name.
Yeah. To go back to what I was gonna say with what Vinkman was talking about, like newer stuff, and a lot of this has to do with buzzwords and how to market and how to do everything has to be newer, bigger, grander, more important, more higher stakes every single time. Everything has to be a blockbuster.
Right.
And you can't always do blockbusters on a street level.
Mm-hmm.
You can if you have good writers, but
Like
not
Tom
everything.
Funko.
Yes, but not everything can always be in terms of to bring it into like an MCU kind of situation. Not everything can be your Jessica Jones.
Right.
So a lot of times it is easier for the big money to do things like No Way Home, where you're inviting Doctor Strange and the multiverse and weird metaphysics and mystical arts, and that's just kind of the way it goes. Like,
Yeah.
to me, I want to sink my teeth into a story that has emotion and grit and heart, and I love the relationships and dynamics between other people and other characters versus outside factors. But the thing is that outside factors generally sell more money.
Yes.
I think it's more because people don't have to really think, but it's what happens. But yeah, so it is what it is, and I think as long as the story is being told brilliantly with a lot of heart, you can't go wrong with what the story is being written. We're readers. We're here to read. So.
Yeah, I completely agree. I enjoy a lot of those stories. I like I say, I enjoy the Kindred Saga and stuff like that. But yeah, it's true. This is where I wish we had a satellite title on Spider-Man right now, where you could delve into that street level stuff. In the '80s they had that where you had the different titles handling different things.
So, yeah. Well, I was about to say, I was like, Spider-Woman, what is partly doing that, but there's a lot of weirdness with it. Like, it's not. It feels more like right now Jessica wants a street level fight so bad, and it's just not happening.
I have not read Spider-Woman since I think the second issue, maybe the first issue. So I got to go back and dive into that because you told me it's actually really good. So
well, I mean I criticize it fairly. So I'm not saying Carla's always perfect, but I think it's her baby, it's her character. So, and that I think goes a long way when it comes to Jessica Drew. So,
there you go.
Anyway, yeah. So
I want to.
yeah, your swag. We do
Yeah.
need to talk about your swag.
Yeah.
Also, again, I think that really needs to be a Patreon exclusive where like me and Neil just try to bring you up to the 21st century.
There's gonna be like an episode of just the three of us talking about me. He goes, "You got
Therapy
swag."
session.
I have. Whoa, I haven't heard that word in a while, and I'm like, wait, that's not a thing anymore. Okay, so
No.
there's a bit of a backstory. A while back, Venkman sent me Spider Girl first
Aw.
appearances. This was a previews exclusive figure that was Spider Girl. So love it. It's hanging up. It's been hanging up on the wall for a while. Since I got moved into this office, but just in time for Christmas, he outdid himself, and he sent me uh, Stinger, Wild Thing, and American Dream. Oh, as my camera got turned. Oh, good lord! All right, American Dream. I'm over here. So he sent me them all carded, but he also knows that I love to collect things not only carded, but I also like to have them loose. And so he sent me all of the figures also loose. So I have all 4 figures. So I will tell you, because of this, I'm going to do a full-blown review of the figures on our Patreon, and I'm going to record that on my new phone that I had to get. And so that will be coming very, very soon. You'll have reviews up on the Patreon of these figures. So I will talk about, and because only Mayday and Stinger have modern Legends figures, I'll compare those two and tell you, what the differences are and stuff like that. So if you want that all up, will be up at patreon.com. He also sent me 2 trades, one of which you got, Kelly. I got the wedding trade. So that was exciting to me. And I got this. This is from the when was this published? This was from the late 80s. Anyway, it's got the comic strip, it's got the Shea Stadium stuff, as well as the wedding issues, etc. So it's really good, really good trade. And then he also got me the first hardcover of Craven's Last Hunt, and so sweet of him to do that for me. He part of the reason he got these loose was so that way if Gabby wants to play with them, she can. She still sleeps with the Spider Girl doll when she's here, so she loves it, and she's getting more into the comic stuff. So she next time I record and she's here, she's probably going to come in here and make a cameo. So Kelly, I think you're muted.
I was. All I was saying was I still need to know where that, like, we need to figure out the next steps on the Willie Smith wedding dress caper.
Yes, the infamous wedding dress
I
caper.
really, some information is missing, and that dress, I can't believe that the dress was actually stolen. So the only thing I think of is somebody's got it somewhere in their closet or attic, and they've forgot about it.
Yeah.
So
apparently, Kelly, you've got a Christmas package coming as well.
okay.
So
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
yeah, we really do
So
appreciate.
I mean, I will say that, like, I hopefully it gets here before I leave,
Yeah.
because I won't be back until I won't be back in my apartment until the new year. So
Yeah.
we'll see, but it's okay. So thank you for that. I will try to be out on the lookout as best as possible. So
now all I need now is the famous covers in the box, like carded.
Yeah.
And that's really the only thing I don't have now, because I got that bust partially because of you, thanks to you. I have a Spider Girl bust. I'll do an update on the socials and in Discord of all the stuff I've got.
Nice.
I got a. He goes, "Yo, action figures," and I'm like, "Yeah, you."
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
have a problem. It's an illness.
Honestly, you could do a whole episode of Spidey Dude Experience talking about it with everybody.
Yeah, I
You
really
sh-
could.
You should.
Um,
So speaking of which,
yes.
next episode, obviously, I think you're probably doing another Spidey Dude Experience before we kind of all take a holiday break.
Yes.
Um, but when we do get back up to January and we do get back up and running, the next episode we're going to do is Spider-Girl 85 through 88. It's going to be the last episode before our last Hero Standing episode.
Yep.
We are getting into, we are in the home stretch here on the original run.
I know.
So and this is where I wrote it before you graciously admitted that you were right. But we will see Pat Olaf again in issue 85, where we see Funny Face again and in and I wrote and family business. And in family business, we get to hang out with the Fantastic Five again, and May gets to meet some new faces and battle some more Skrulls. We also get some tie-ins leading up to Last Hero Standing in these issues.
Yep.
So we'll kind of get a little teaser for what to expect. And again, since we're not going to have another episode this month of Make My Mayday, I do want to wish all of our viewers and listeners who listen to this later on a, very merry happy holidays and an amazing new year. So Christmas, I know Hanukkah just passed.
Yep.
Whatever you celebrate, Festivus,
If you have to air your
if you-
grievances, please let us not be one of them.
yeah, hopefully, if you celebrate more, Die Hard, whatever you want to celebrate, happy holidays. I really do appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. I know that we saw a few people who had us on their Spotify Wrapped list. We had some people that had us up there. I think the highest one was Parish was second.
Nice.
So crazy.
I got the emails and I haven't gone through all the shows yet to see the wrapped stuff from our perspective. But yeah.
Oh, nice. But yeah, that was really cool. And whoever finds us finds us over our break, thank you for listening and enjoying what we do. We are so very thankful, believe me. We are extremely thankful for you guys and can't wait to continue to put out more quality content for you when we can. And, we'll see you guys in 2022. But we do have our social medias. Please, obviously like, share, subscribe this. We'll be around. It's not like we're taking any kind of social media detox, but no more episodes until 2022. We will tell you guys the date at a later time when we can work that out, but we are not going to focus on scheduling it right now.
And the first of the year.
Yeah. So, but yeah, seriously, thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. We have, I think now it's been 14 months since we started Make Mine Mayday.
Yeah.
And
been 14 months now.
Yeah, and maybe one day we'll deep dive into everything that happened to get this podcast up and running. But you guys are the reasons why we keep coming back and keep talking. I'll talk about Spider-Girl all day long, but I'm really enjoying the community that we're building because I think it's a lot of fun with a lot of good people, and I'm excited to see what other Mayday things we get in 2022 to talk about with y'all.
Yeah. So with that, I will give everybody a good night. Let's everybody know once again, you can follow us on our social medias at Spidey Dude Network, at Spidey Dude Radio on Twitter, and at Make My Mayday on Twitter. YouTube is youtube.com/Spidey Dude Radio Network. Instagram, you can find K McDaniel 28 Kelly there, as well as Spidey Dude Radio Network on Instagram as well. TikTok at Make My Mayday. I got to update that and put at Spidey Dude Network on TikTok as well. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for everything you guys do. Once again, I echo what Kelly said. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you all. Cannot wait. If you like what you're seeing on the channel and you want to hear more from us, I will be doing the No Way Home review next month, or the Monday after the show comes out on December 20th. And I will have one more episode of Spidey Experience before the end of the year. Once again, I will have all of the episodes going up over the break, so be sure to follow us on those social medias. If you're listening to us on the audio versions, we'll let everybody know. So thanks again for watching, and thanks again to our Patreons at patreon.com/Spidey Network. Thank you guys for your support. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next time here on Make Mine Mayday. Good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.